Welcome back to Valiant Hearts.
January 18th,
Now things are starting to
1917.
converge a bit again. Since, like I was mentioning, now the story, in terms of the romanticized one, is technically over. The Baron has been defeated and it's gone going home. So what happens now to the heroes? Because the work sadly continues. We resume with Karl, trying to reach Saint Mihiel. And of course, it's winter time, and as we learn from things like Thumbelina, winter is very harsh towards people, especially during war. And don't forget
Are you
that
referring
it's...
to Don Bluth's film, Thumbelina?
Yes. Well, I'll try to take the positive for the example of this case.
You need all the positives you can get from the first ever animated movie to win a Razzie.
I mean,
that's the sad part, Java. Of his bad movies, that one is probably his best one.
It's tame. The only major thing that I just couldn't stand for me, but it's mostly for me as per tradition, were the musical numbers, because normally can't stand them in animated movies.
The musical numbers are part of the reason it got a Razzie. Basically, Don Bluth's Thumbelina was the first ever animated movie to win a Razzie, and the musical numbers are the reason because of that.
Yeah, it's for worst original song for Marry the Mole.
Oh wait, wasn't that the mouse character actually? Who got that song?
No, that's exactly it. That's what she sings, Marry the Mole.
Oh god, that's right. Yeah, Marry the Mole. Sorry.
Remember, the mouse character played by Carol Channing.
You're right. Sorry. For a moment, I thought you were talking about a mole called Mary.
I guess it's a matter of the voice acting, because for my country, the songs are incredibly praised. They even got particular people to sing them.
Yeah, okay, let me put it like this, it's not...
I'll have to share those songs so you can maybe second guess that.
It's not
you know what I think in general, Pedro, it's like wasting, things on me.
Okay, sure.
But compared to something like, say, a troll in Central Park, I will take that, honestly.
Well, that's just, that's just obvious.
I still believe, my favorite more recent era Don Bluth movie, obviously, to me, still remains Titan AE, but that suffers from a lot of things, namely because for the fact that he worked mostly just for the animation, not really on the script. That was mostly... I think it was James Gunn who actually worked on the script of that.
My favorite Don Bluth era is probably the one involving All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Oh, but...
Well, yeah, that was the last movie of his golden age, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about Java Rockadoodle onward.
Oh.
Well, obviously. Well,
I forget if he had any good movies after Rockadoodle.
Well, I like Titan AE.
Yeah, the one I just mentioned, Java.
Aside from that...
It wasn't great, but I thought it was fine. And Anastasia was fine, too, despite being horribly, historically inaccurate.
Yeah.
But at the very least, unlike Pocahontas, it was actually a good movie on its own.
Reminder everyone that Anastasia is now a Disney princess.
There's also the fact that it's actually based on a 50s musical, so it's a pre-existing material, and that one also. Of course, they added stuff that fits more of an animated kid movie, like having Rasputin having magical powers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's one thing I can give that movie over the Pocahontas movie. It's like it was based off of a musical, technically, sort of like...
It's similar to The King and I, if you think about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, to sum up, since I had the journal entries, Emil is shocked by the fact that he thinks Karl is dead, of course. Freddy has found solace, but only a little, in his revenge. Of course, just like any revenge story, he feels empty afterwards, and he's just observing passively because she has a job to do. Karl wants to desperately go back to his wife and kids, and I think that's it. Anyway, now it's time to actually hide, not from the military camp police, but from the gendarmerie, the traditional French police, which are still on their tracks, and they're also using dogs to track him out.
Wouldn't it be just great if Karl finds out that his son is dead by the time he gets back home?
Well, that's supposed to be the tension, Jola, but go on, Pedro.
Well, to make a long story short, that Razzie Award song literally has a theme about talking about you shouldn't pursue true love because think about it, Romeo and Juliet pursued true love, and where are they? Dead. Dead.
I remember the text of the song. It was talking more about the delivery, like. Or did he won just because of the text?
Well, when it comes to picking a worst or best original song, while delivery is indeed a factor, the lyrics are incredibly... Well, here's the thing. Feel free to correct me, Joe, but in a musical, some may argue that the lyrics are probably the most important, because if the lyrics don't work, the song doesn't work, in general. I mean...
well, for an American audience, I suppose, but there's the fact that... a lot of we said the child. A lot of musicals for my country before, like say the 80s, were keeping their original, American voice acting and everything and it just they had subs in order to ease up. So for all of Italians, they were not really caring about what the lyrics had to say, and were just more entranced by the delivery of music, of the voice. It's kind of something that it's more eradicated in my country. This is also, for example, the reason why for myself I really enjoy Keiji Okabe's fictional language lyrics for the Nier games, because they pretty much channel that kind of spirit.
Well, yeah, of course.
That reminds me.
Anyway,
Pedro, wasn't
there you go. Since we saved, give me a second. We saved the child, and in return, they're basically buying us some time for us to escape the gendarmerie, because of course we're on our tracks. But go on, Joe.
Pedro, wasn't the mouse voiced by a man, if I recall correctly?
Okay, hold on. What specific mouse? Because the female mouse character. Okay,
yeah,
remember
I'm pretty sure she's voiced by a guy.
I think we're probably thinking two characters, but I'm gonna check it myself because I'm pretty sure I'm talking about Carol Channing's character.
Poor Karl has to go away in someone's underwear. Well, not pajamas, basically. And I gotta love all the gendarme is like, no, it's perfectly fine with someone rolling around in a pajama. Like,
I guess they find that less suspicious than somebody in a German outfit.
I suppose. It's weird.
A lot of things were weird back then.
Also, I'm guessing the... Hold on.
Starving. Karl realized he'd never reach Saint Mihiel.
Damn.
His strength fading.
It's just like the ending of Journey, but and to the rescue.
Well, son of a gun.
They were only about 20 miles from Saint Mihiel.
Oh, sorry.
When their hopes were again dead.
Oh, of course. Jesus.
Okay, now it's time for another Sierra / LucasArts throwback in a sense of other item exchange. Now you will need to switch costumes and gain items from two different sides, the gendarmerie and the soldiers' camp. It's more complicated than you think, but go on in the meantime.
There you go, Jova. No, she's clear. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with Carol Channing, but that's clearly Carol Channing's voice. There you go. So no, so I don't know where you got the whole voiced by a man thing, considering it's a female character, but. Not that I have a problem. Not that there's anything wrong with. Not that there's anything wrong with it, audience. It's just that it's not what actually is in the movie itself.
But yeah, oh god, yeah.
Marry Them All is a terrible song, and it got the Razzie deservedly. That's all you really need to know, audience.
Let me put it like this, guys. Just to put this into perspective, Shiroi. Thumbelina was a Don Bluth movie with Jodie Benson as the lead, and it failed as a musical. Think about that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Joe. But I mean, even the bad Don Bluth movies have great actors that were perfectly capable of handling everything. It's just that
yeah, Don Louise, for instance.
Well, yeah, but it's not. The actors were never the problem. It was just the terrible writing.
Oh, exactly.
Both songs and script-wise.
That's my thing, though. I'm putting it into perspective, though. Thumbelina was a musical that had all the right ingredients to be pretty much musical gold, and it failed.
Well, Jova, it had Barry Manilow writing the songs, and let's face it, Barry Manilow is, how should I put this nicely?
Mr.
Beetle was voiced by Gilbert Gottfried. Okay, now I definitely need to see this movie in original
Oh
language.
yes, Tio. You need to see this movie to believe it. I mean,
remember, Joe. Remember, Terry was trying to cater to the Disney audience.
That reminds me. I do believe that Gilbert Gottfried also has a try it singing in that movie. It goes about as well as you imagine.
That is something I cannot imagine.
But it kind of makes sense in context because in the Italian voiceover, he is voiced by the same guy with the same delivery, mind you, who voiced Gollum in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So yeah.
For those not familiar, Carol Channing is kind of a Hollywood legend, and in her later years, after she kind of retired from live action, she actually did get some really good gigs as voice actress in cartoons. She was Grandma in the '90s Addams Family show. She even had a little cameo in Family Guy back when Family Guy was still capable of being funny, where basically they had a skit where she was literally beating the crap out of Mike Tyson.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
No, she passed away this year, January 15. Well, age 97, so it's not like it was too early. Anyway, the gimmick, like I said here, is to switch uniforms at the right time and pick the objects that you need, from the right place. Of course, the gendarmerie will allow you, like dressed up like that, but we will not, welcome a soldier. And apparently, both sides don't recognize the fact that it's just one person switching uniforms constantly and fooling them all the time.
I guess to be fair, he has himself well clad so that they won't exactly be looking at his face.
There's also the fact that Karl, being native German, looks very different from both the gendarmes and the French soldiers.
Well, so considering how a lot of people from different nationalities like to screw around with each other, seeing people who looked of different descent but were still of a particular nationality wasn't exactly a new thing. Like, let's not forget at this time, the rulers of England and Germany were practically cousins.
Well, yeah, it has been a thing since the Dark Ages, unfortunately. Never understood what they were thinking, I guess.
There you go. Now you can disguise yourself.
What do you think they were thinking with Gio?
A French chef.
I suppose, but anyway, the ultimate goal of this is, of course, to steal the actual commander, the local commander's uniform, since top dog, so he can give so with that card can potentially give the order of getting the taxi fixed, which is what him and Hand need right now.
Anyway, I guess to be fair, another reason that there were a lot of mixed nationalities was because countries like to, unify their countries in peace via marriage, as stuff like the Three Musketeers has shown us.
It depends on a lot of factors when it comes to the whole mixed nationalities thing. The primary reason for my country was colonies, because back in these days, Portugal had a lot of colonies. Like we had colonies in China, colonies in Africa. And that's why there's a lot of racial diversity in my country, because a lot of people come specific from those colonies. And for example, Macau is still the primary language in that country is still Portuguese to this day. So that's one of the primary. It's colonies most likely. That's the one I'm most familiar with because of my history lessons.
Anyway, here we go. You need to be disguised as a soldier and offer a bottle of wine to the commander, like that. Okay, dude.
He's been drinking wine. Do you think he's okay?
However, now you need to use Volt to be an annoying dog. Like that.
You can't be mad at the dog.
But it's an annoying dog. Cue the feed, please.
No.
You have to understand, Teo, that this is how Shiroi's brain works. When we were watching, when I was showing her Alita Battle Angel, Shiro was way more invested in the dog than the actual story.
Hey, that's a bad example. The rest of that movie is very boring.
Again, Shiro, I already told you this, Shiro. It's gonna be kind of hard when we'll have to kill Great Wolf Sif in Dark Souls. Just having you right ahead.
Oh God, no, not Sif! After all he's done for Artorias.
thanks to the commander uniform, we were able to get the wheel and,
Actually-
tug away before they actually bust us.
Good time for me to ask you. Have you gotten to the point where you
Nothing.
showed Dwibs and Shiroi about poor Artorias?
Not yet. We're too early in the game right now. Oh
We're
shit.
gonna-
No, there's something going on now.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, because we transitioned to the next stage, another one of the chase segments.
Oh, good. Did we get a driving section?
Oh dear.
Yay.
Yeah.
What
I
will be the
forgot-
classical
I forgot
tune
we
they
na-
play this time?
No, I haven't played this in years, Joe. I played this back when it first came out and then never played it ever again, so I don't remember all of it.
There we
I
go.
was asking
Now
to
we're
you.
gonna alternate between Flight of a Bumblebee and Night on Bald Mountain.
Ah, those are the classical tunes, I see.
Interesting selection for this, I suppose. Ouch.
I know. It's funny because Crash Bandicoot has done both of those tunes with Spiral Mouth.
Well, Flight of a Bumblebee, yes, but I don't think we did Night on Bald Mountain.
During Crash Tag Team Racing.
Oh, okay.
In the
I didn't know-
Evolocity stage.
I don't know all. I only know the Tire and Ice theme.
Of course, I
Which
mean,
is
almost
Russian.
everyone I know knows about the Tire and Ice scene for some reason.
Also, Shiroi, you're not allowed to say that is boring on the internet.
What's the internet gonna do? Cancel me?
I guess I agree with you because I see a lot of
Don't-
people
don't-
say
don't you
that that
see-
thing has some
don't-
boring sections.
Don't you see, Shiroi? You're gonna be excommunicated from the internet.
Oh, he
Yes.
just boring. Shut up.
Basically,
Drops mic.
Tio, Night on Bald Mountain plays if you're like in one of the later places on the final lap of
Oh, shit.
Evolocity. Whoa.
As you can see, this is the ultimate test of the driving section because you will have shit thrown at you from all sides with little premise. It's kind of like Pepsi Man in that kind of sense.
All
And
because
you also need to throw the dynamite when the tank is behind you and as the hatch opens.
all
And yes,
because
the
we
commander is
stole a
doing all of this in
uniform.
his underwear. He's
Oh.
that determined.
And heck, for all he knows, we are on his side. It's just he's salty because we took his clothes.
Our enemy's understanding just fun.
Joy.
Yes.
I forget, Joe.
Okay, I
have
gotta
you seen
wonder.
sorry.
I'm sorry. I gotta wonder, where was this ultimate tank when the French could have used it?
I guess we were keeping. It's kind of like that super boss Mechon in Xenoblade Chronicles, despite the fact that the main bad guy is like, "Oh, this is the ultimate powerful Mechon ever built." Yeah, Chugacon
Right.
Ray it best. The
The
ultimate
greatest weapon
Mechon
to
by head,
well, it is the greatest weapon to surpass Metal Gear.
I suppose.
Anyway, you
I
were saying,
forget.
Pedro?
I forget, Joe, but have you seen Alita Battle Angel? The live-action movie, I mean.
No, not yet.
I think it's just okay, but for the internet, for some reason, has a profound love for it, and I don't
It's
really
like-
get it.
I've
It's a
actually heard a lot of
well-made
people.
movie, but it's a boring movie.
I've actually
Well,
heard a
that's the
lot
thing,
of
Joe,
people
it's one of
say
those
that
ki-
it's decent.
That's the thing, Joe. But it's kind of a reverse. It's kind of like one of those things where the critics found it just found the mixed bag, like I had, like me and Shira have. But a lot of people on the internet, like for example, Joe. But when it comes to you know how the internet loves bashing on the Captain Marvel movie, they always use Alita as the there you go. Alita is the true proper way to do a strong female character, right? And shit like that. They always use it's basically this narrative that the internet is using and stuff like that. So, which is why I was joking with Shiri about that.
I guess. I mean,
The
Captain Marvel.
internet isn't exactly very good at character analysis, I can tell you that much.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Captain Marvel has its own bucket of problems too, and I wouldn't consider that the standard either. But I don't see the comparison between that or Alita. Honestly.
They're wildly different movies. The problem, Joe, is that
They
people
came
hate
out around the same time, so that was a natural comparison people made.
Yeah, a lot of people like if you go on YouTube and or even at internet in general, just search Captain Marvel Alita, you'll see a lot of videos and sort of explaining why Alita is the greatest
There we
thing since
go.
sliced bread and Captain Marvel
Well,
is
child
garbage.
is
and
up to
stuff like
something.
that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, he kind of did sort
Uh-oh.
of the Eggman thing.
Yay, we
Oh.
made it home!
Yeah, we got to Saint Mihiel.
I don't know, Tail. That usually only works when you're fighting a flying ship, not so much.
And with that, we
Wait, that's the
conclude of the chapter, mind you.
Oh, huh. But the way that screen came up, you'd think that was the end of the game.
I know, right?
it does feel like that, actually.
Oh god, can you imagine if they pulled a Child of Light and had such an abrupt ending?
Don't you see, Joe? But this is gonna be like Nier, where you have multiple endings.
Oh, or like
Yeah,
Nier
like
Automata,
we're
where you
playing
have
the entire game from the
26
beginning.
endings. One for
This
each
is
letter
Route
of the
B.
alphabet.
Anyway,
Well, in Automata, you have to do that for Route B. So
yeah. Anyway, see you for the next part. We'll start the next chapter.
See
See
ya.
ya.